Welcome to Real Estate Coaching Radio, starring award-winning real estate coaches and #1 international best-selling authors, Tim and Julie Harris. This is the #1 daily radio show for realtors looking for a no BS, authentic, real-time coaching experience. What's really working in today's market, how to generate more leads, make more money, and have more time for what you love in your life. And now your hosts, Tim and Julie Harris.
Welcome back. This is day 3 of the series that we're doing, which is specifically designed to help you guys not just survive in this market, but thrive in this market. And this is the 12-step Realtor Survival Guide, and this is day 3. And today we're going through points number 9 through 12. So get ready to take notes. If you've missed either the previous shows, they are, of course, available everywhere you can possibly imagine, most notably iTunes, Spotify, and our main website, Tim and Julie Harris. And some of you will want to also review the notes that Julie and I are using. We write long form, all of our notes for every single podcast, and we always publish those along with the podcast. Not every time do all the notes, because Julie and I write a lot of notes, long form. Not every time do all of them appear in, say, iTunes or whatever else, but they always are on our website of timandjulieharris.com. And if you want to review the notes, if you want to share this podcast or any of our content, please do so. Our mission is hopefully your mission, which is to make it so that this transitioning real estate market is experienced in a positive way, where agents are realizing this is their opportunity to not just survive, but thrive. And also, we want to welcome from the bottom of our hearts the hundreds of you that are joining Premier Coaching. It is our incredible pleasure and honor to welcome some of you to Premier Coaching. It is absolutely our professional life's mission to be of service to every single one of you. And a lot of you guys know that. Hopefully you can hear that in our voices in this podcast. But when you join Premier Coaching and you see all the things that you're getting as far as being a Premier Coaching client, you will not believe it. This is what many of you are looking for because of this market. And look, guys, the simple fact is, and if, just be observant. You know what I'm saying, what I'm about to say is true. Everything about this market, all of the skill sets and mindset that it was necessary, and you have to upgrade everything. That's what Premier Coaching is all about. And the best part is Premier Coaching is absolutely free for you to join right now. Just text the word Premier to 47372. Text the word Premier to 47372. The second you join, you're going to be able to do a DISC personality test. You're going to be able, you get our different plans, our survival guide, our 90-day massive action plan, scripts, presentations, all the things that you guys need in a market like this. Really even needed in the previous market, but truly needed in this market. They're all waiting for you. First 30 days is free. And by the way, yes, that does include a daily semi-private coaching call with our Harris certified coaches. You and our coach on a semi-private coaching call. It's a video call. Every single weekday, you get all that for free for the first 30 days. There's no strings attached. Every single one of you should be texting the word Premier to 47372 urgently. Why the heck wouldn't you? If you're in Premier, you're going to know what you're doing. You're going to know the direction in which you're going. You're going to align with a community of other like-minded real estate professionals who know in their hearts and their souls their highest and truest purpose on this planet is to be of service to other people. And there has not been another market, at least in the since really 2007 through 2009, where so many people have really needed caring, competent, and mostly skilled real estate professionals. That time is now. Be part of the next generation of successful agents. And look, guys, it's easy. Just text the word Premier to 47372. Text the word Premier to 47372. We're going to text you back a link. You click the link, you join. You can join Premier Coaching, and you can be on your semi-private coaching call. What time does it happen every day?
Noon East Coast, 9 a.m. on the West Coast.
Right. So if you missed it today, that's okay. You can join obviously tomorrow, and then show up, ask tough questions, move forward quickly. That's the main thing. Join, take action, move forward quickly. You will receive a call from someone from our office that personally welcomes you, or one of our concierges. They're going to get you started in the program. So text the word Premier to 47372. Remember, message and data rates may apply. All right, yesterday we ended on point number 8. Today we're going to point number 9. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we get to
Well, I'll tell you what you won't find on Facebook Live calls with our Premier coaches is a lot of whining and complaining and freaking out about the market shift. You're going to be surrounded by like-minded agents who are enthusiastic, who are building their skills, and every single session, what I'm most proud of them about is that they share the results of what their skills have gotten them. And a lot of those stories, especially, as agents are recently upgrading their skills, start out like this. You're not going to believe what happened when I did blah, blah, blah. When I used my pre-listing package for the first time, when I actually pre-qualified all of my buyers, here's what I found out. So it's, like-minded people and Harris trained coaches. We have a variety of coaches, all of which have your back. Let's say that you have a deal trying to go sideways on you, something you've never heard of before in your life. You can't believe it's happening to you. You go to your live coaching call, you get an answer immediately, and you get the results you're looking for.
Well, it's the ones, and yes, absolutely. It's so funny, Julie, the feedback that we're getting, and we absolutely read every comment you guys make. The feedback where people are saying their office is full of agents that are thinking the future is going to be zombies and some sort of dystopia. Everything's going to be in black and white, and we're all going to be eating scarecrows or whatever. That people are really going into these states of fear. And then they join Premier Coaching and they're realizing, holy, why are these people optimistic? Why are they excited?
Yeah.
Well, it's because we know that at the end of the day, guys, real estate is the greatest industry to be in, especially in the United States, which is the greatest country to live in. The combination of those things and the fact that everyone will always need a house to live in, you just have to be the person that someone's going to transact with. And I get news for you. Listen to yesterday's podcast. It's not going to be because of your influence. It's going to be because of the skill set that you're able to provide. That is what Premier Coaching is all about. So text the word Premier to 47372. Remember, message and data rates might apply. Julie, point number 9.
Point number 9, upgrade your mortgage knowledge. Some of your buyers may still be buyers if they simply change to a different mortgage product. Now, we don't expect you to know what loan officers know, although some of you loan officers are listening. We appreciate you too.
And we do appreciate the fact that some of you loan officers who are listening are admitting that you really don't know what you need to know in this marketplace. And we are, for you guys, mostly for real estate practitioners, we are going to be drilling down and giving a whole litany of ways to get deals done with regards to different, lease purchases, rent to own. We're going to go through all of those types of things on a future podcast. And we're also going to be talking about all the different lender gotchas that, frankly, a lot of the loan officers you guys are using don't even know. That's coming up on a future podcast.
Yes, we are going to drill down on that. So the pointy end of the stick is adjustable rate mortgages. So those are known as ARMs, and they have made a recent comeback. And we talked on previous shows, but again, we'll drill down more. Buyers with large down payments might need to reallocate funds towards a buy down and lock in a lower rate.
Or get the seller to pay for the buy down to lock in a lower rate too. And we show you how to do that in Premier Coaching.
Yes, your mortgage knowledge may be enough to help some of your buyers buy when they otherwise would have been priced out. Skills are what you need to work with a greater variety of clients in various situations. So don't lose business because you lack knowledge. You could be the reason that they build generational wealth because you figured something out that nobody else had asked a question about.
Your mission is to be able to say yes after someone's proven to be qualified to as many people as possible. What so many of you only know, you guys are binary. You only know how to do one thing. Buyer wants to buy, seller wants to sell. You don't know how to deal with the nuances. Julie gave an example of the toolbox, right? You show up to someone's house and you have a screwdriver and a hammer, and maybe you know how to use both of those tools. That's what the old market required. Virtually no skills with no tools necessary. In this new market, you better show up with a whole litany of tools, with a whole variety to solve a whole variety of different problems, and you better know how to use them or you're not going to transact. Sellers will naturally choose somebody who they know, not suspect because they watched an Instagram video, who they know has actually been able to perform in a marketplace like that. Be that agent. That's the key.
Exactly. Point number 10, you must make a higher number of contacts to a larger variety of prospects in order to meet or exceed your goals this year. I'm going to read that again because there's several parts to that. You must make a higher number of contacts to a larger variety of prospects in order to meet or exceed your goals this year. Remember, a contact is a conversation with a decision-making adult about real estate. You do have goals this year, don't you? Are you on track, ahead, or behind? How do you know if you're not following a plan? This is why people get into coaching, so that you can know, are you on track, or ahead, or behind? I had a conversation with I have several Sues or Susans that I'm coaching right now.
So if you're a Sue or Susan, you're looking for a coach, Julie's your girl.
Yes, but you might need to use your middle name because I have a
it's
lot
getting
of
confusing.
That's okay. And this particular Sue, who will know who she is, was asking me, gosh, why do you have me talking to more than just my lead follow-up or more than just one category? And we had a conversation about this very point. You have to have a higher number of contacts, especially now, to a bigger variety of prospects. Some of you guys have been living on past clients and centers of influence and all of that.
Level off there. Yep. Such an awesome point you're making right now. So what you're going to see is the normal move up cycle that many of you have only experienced because you've never been in real estate during a transitioning, let alone buyer's market. You've only been in the market where people just sort of, okay, I've got enough equity, now I'm going to move up. The average time in a home maybe is only 5 years, and then people move up, and they move up, and they move up. And so many of you have just gotten used to centers of influence and past clients who are just moving up because interest rates are low, they've gotten equity in their old house, they trade up to another one. Now they're in a house, and now they have a bunch of equity most likely in their house, maybe 50%, maybe more than that in some cases. Maybe it's only 25%. Doesn't matter. The interest rate now, they have a 3% or lower rate, or 3.5% or lower. The rate on the new house is, say, 5, 6, maybe slightly higher than 6%. A lot of them are going to take themselves out of the market. So those of you who've basically feasted off a centers of influence and past client, essentially buffet of food for the last,
That's right.
Maybe I'm getting hungry for lunch, a buffet of food for a long period of time, many of you are going to needlessly suffer because you do not know how to work any other source of business other than centers of influence and past clients. And those people largely are going to take themselves out of the market. You're going to see people who are going to start staying in their homes for long periods of time or keep their old homes and rent them. Now, the problem is if they keep their old homes and rent them, where are they going to get their down payment on their next house? In other words, they're not going to be moving up. That's the reason we're going to be in a seller's market for a long period of time. That and a whole bunch of other reasons. Make sure you listen to our past podcast we did on the 15 reasons why there absolutely positively will not be a housing crash. Next point, Mrs. Harris.
Next, number 11 is a mindset point. Don't overreact to the market shift. It is a shift, not a crash. Let's be very clear about that. Unskilled agents are already 100% unglued over this, just from higher interest rates and tougher mortgage requirements.
Well, honestly, they should be.
Well, yes, unskilled agents should be because they're going to get run over by the skilled.
Agents who have been buying buyer leads, all these types of agents, they should be freaking out.
Yes, but the disparity between those two mindsets has, in the past 3 or 4 weeks, become huge. And what I mean by that is the unskilled agents are unglued. They're saying dumb things like the market has to be crashing, it's a boom, all these things, little headline snippets. It's a bubble. Prices are going to come down. It's going to be a crash. Meanwhile, their buyers are drying up. They're not getting any new leads.
Well, you talked about this yesterday, right? Yeah. You and I are preparing for future podcasts. By the way, have you ever calculated how much time we take to write these damn outlines for the podcast?
It's a lot. It's more than people think.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's not just the half hour.
Because we actually research a lot of this
Exactly.
stuff.
Well, researching it, Julie and I were essentially the effect of rising interest rates by just a point, let alone what we've experienced in the past few months, 2 months of 3 points. You're seeing a lot of people who are maybe qualified last week or the week before who are absolutely not qualified now. Again, this is the reason that we beg all of you to lean into becoming listing agents because working with buyers largely is going to become an act of futility. And a lot of these buyers are going to take themselves out of the market or taken out of the market because they're not going to qualify and not going to be able to afford to buy. Here's the problem. You guys are buying buyer leads. The buyer leads that you've been buying over the long period of time have obviously eroded with the quality. You think there was a quality problem last year with the buyer leads you were buying? Wait to what you start paying for now and see what you're going to get. These buyers are going to say, I got pre-qualified. When were you pre-qualified? Last week. Well, guess what? The interest rates went up another half point and probably now you don't qualify. Fannie Mae sets the mortgage requirements, the minimum standards that the mortgage lenders have to follow. The lenders are now putting very onerous overlays on top of those minimum requirements from Fannie Mae. That means a lot of your borrowers are out of the market. They just don't know it. And you guys are going to waste all your nights, all your weekends, all your best energies every single day trying to do the right thing and find a house for that buyer, but that buyer is not going to be able to transact because you did not pre-qualify them. You did not follow our rules. You didn't listen to the past podcasts. Join, obviously Premier Coaching will teach you how to not waste time with time wasters, but it's not the buyer's fault. I hate hearing buyers are liars. Nope. Agents are incompetent about pre-qualifying, full stop.
Some of you are listening to this podcast on the way to a showing where you're going to show a house that you had to, kick and scream to even set up in the first place. You had to show it when the seller said so. You're going to have to deal with the listing agent haunting you for feedback, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And yet, do you know without a shadow of a doubt that the buyer that you are about to show that house to and hopefully get them in contract has actually locked their rate in?
Even if you do get them in contract, do you really know if they can actually perform on the mortgage? Everything has changed. You guys are so expectant that because interest rates are so low and because essentially the payment versus, that people can easily qualify, those rules have changed. You need to adjust to the new market. That's the reason that we are in a skills-based market. That's what joining Premier Coaching is all about.
Yes. Ask all of your buyers if they've locked in their rate. And
well, it's more than that, right?
I mean, it's so much more than that, but that's the basic thing if you're even showing property right now. Okay. So remember, skilled agents are absolutely ecstatic to see this shift. If you're an unskilled agent and you are freaking out, there is a reason for that. There are a lot of you that are in between that are listening to this podcast trying to sort out what is your mindset about this shift. What are you going to have to do? What are you going to have to change? And that's why we have the coaching program for you on a daily basis, because things are going to continue to change.
It's not just number of contacts, Julie, to your point. It's who you're contacting.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
All right. Point number 11.
We just did number 11.
That was 10.
We just did that one.
Oh, you're
okay.
right.
So point number 12, be careful who and where you're getting your information from. The headline, housing crash, and anything sounding like that is clickbait.
Hold on. We use clickbait titles.
Well, but you even NAR has some of these.
But you have to, honestly, to get people to pay attention nowadays,
Sure.
You have to do things that are a little bit salacious.
To get their attention.
It's unfortunately, but it's true. But what's often happening is that Julie and I have shared this stuff with you guys, but on CNBC, for example, there are headlines about, the housing, they'll say housing drops expected of 10 or 15%. What they're trying to get you to believe from reading the headline is property values are going to fall. In other words, people are going to possibly go into negative equity, but that's not actually what happens. What it really is, what they're really saying is, and what they're really talking about, but you have to read the article to understand, is the rate of appreciation is expected to fall from, say, like 15% down to, say, 6%. They're not suggesting that housing values themselves are going to fall, though that might happen in certain markets around the country. I mean, it always has happened, even in a hot seller's market. There's no reason to believe, and if there were, we would tell you that there's going to be any sort of dropping of home values. There'll be a leveling off and a decrease in home value appreciation, but those are two massively different things.
Yes, that's right. And usually one of the leading factors for causing homes to actually go down in value is a very big increase in inventory, which we're not even close to. Remember, it's going to take 2 million houses just to get to a balanced market. That's not even a buyer's market. But my favorite headline, in a sarcastic way, from last week was a USA Today headline, which was listing the nation's top 10 overvalued markets, okay? And it showed, and I'm thinking about John Weber here, Boise, Idaho, overvalued by as much as 75%, which if you just look at that...
Is that really what it said?
Yeah, and so especially because I was thinking about John that day, I thought, well, how can that be? So then I read through the article, and what it was historically over like 7 years or something, prices in Boise on average have gone up as much as 75% in certain price ranges. That doesn't mean that it's going to depreciate by 75%, but if you didn't scan through the article and read the facts, and what I do when I see that, because we are always researching and fact-checking ourselves, is I look at the headlines, what are they trying, the bullet points, what are they trying to get me to believe from the article? But then, I go all the way to the bottom, and then it'll say, so-and-so economist, even though all these things are happening, agrees with all these other people that we're not going to have any kind of precipitous housing crash. And then it just means that appreciation isn't going to be as outrageous as it has been.
They bury the lead.
Exactly.
Because what they're doing is they're obviously, you guys understand this concept. None of it is particularly new. But to Julie's overriding point here is be careful who you're getting information from. And you've got to learn to be pre-qualifier of buyers and sellers, obviously. You have to start being a pre-qualifier of who you're listening to. And when it comes to coaching, Julie and I developed these 4 filters, but you can apply this to any aspect of life. So if you're thinking about hiring a roofer, or hiring a dentist, if you're thinking about, hiring a real estate coach, ask these questions. Number 1, have you sold real estate before? In other words, have you actually ever had a real estate license? If not, do not hire that person. I don't care what their song and dance is. That is not somebody who should be trying to teach somebody how to sell real estate and be successful in the real estate industry, especially in a market like this. Never having sold real estate before should be an instant disqualifier. Doesn't it just sound insane, me telling you guys there are people out there selling real estate coaching and training who have never sold real estate before? Does that even make sense to you? And yet, there's a lot of people doing that. Number 2, have they actually having sold real estate, have they sold 100 homes in a year? If they have, so someone who had a license, someone who sold 100 houses in a year, that person probably has something worth listening to. Probably, most certainly. But here's what you're going to discover. A lot of times they haven't sold more than 100 homes in more than 1 year. And the reason is because the year they sold 100 homes, they sold 100 homes because they listed a subdivision or they listed a building in Miami or something like that. In other words, they got some sort of home run opportunity to list a bunch of properties, and that's what caused them to sell 100 homes in a year. What you really want, so have they listed 100 homes in a year? Okay, good. License, yes. Move to question 2. 100 homes in a year? That's okay, good. We're on the right path to choosing, hopefully, somebody that knows what the heck they're talking about. Question 3. Did they sell at least 100 homes in a year for 5 years in a row? Now, why that? Because it rules out the person who just got lucky listing. I shouldn't say it that way, but the one time, listing 100 and selling 100 homes or selling 100 homes in a year, when you go to the next level of questioning and you say, did you sell at least 100 homes in a year for 5 years in a row? What you'll then discover is if you do happen to find an agent who actually hits that benchmark, that is really somebody who's exceptional. And you're dealing with probably not even the top 1% of practitioners, but like the top maybe, I bet you it's top maybe 0.5% or less. Well, now, the next question number 4, filter number 4, is, okay, so you've now got somebody, you're talking to somebody, someone's trying to convince you they're a real estate coach, someone's trying to teach you that they're worthy of you listening to and investing your money and your time into. They've sold 100 homes per year for at least 5 years in a row. The next question is, have they actually performed at least 10,000 paid one-on-one coaching calls? Now, why do I set those criteria? First of all, because when somebody is paying for somebody or for something, that obviously puts a different value on it than free. Because there's a lot of these YouTube coaches who act like they're real estate coaches, but have never been paid for real estate coaching. Now, again, the differentiator is, if you're looking for a doctor, and the doctor, we know one doctor's, using insurance and charging what they're charging, but another doctor is free, don't you pretty much instantly assume that the reason the other doctor is free is because maybe that's the last doctor on the planet Earth you want to be going to visit? Can you just visualize you choosing the free doctor versus you're going to intuitively know that that's probably a bad idea.
The doctor pop-up shop.
Yeah, exactly. Hi, I'm Bob. I'm a doctor.
Come on in.
You know what? I just thought I'd start a dentist channel, YouTube channel on being a dentist. And I'm going to, get a trailer and start a dentist practice, right? It's insane, guys, but that's what's going on out there. So the fourth question, have they actually done 10,000 paid one-on-one coaching calls? Paid because the market has proven that they're worth paying for, not once, not twice, but 10,000 times. If the answer is not yes to all those questions, then you should be not hiring that person or considering working with that person at all. Now, they might be able to provide training, something that's interesting, but it's not a real estate coach. That's not somebody who's been market tested. Now, I get it. Some of you are not willing to you don't know the difference between somebody who's experienced and not experienced. But the problem is, in a marketplace like this, to Julie's point number 12, if you attach yourself to somebody that doesn't meet at least all 4 of those criteria, and I say at least because there could hypothetically be more, then what's the probability of you succeeding at the highest level because of this market? You want somebody who's been up and down, the mountain. You want somebody who's proven themselves to not just sell real estate at a high level, but coach agents in every single market and every single market condition. In the marketplace of coaches, Julie and I stand tall, and there may be 2 or 3 other coaches total
who work for us.
Yeah, right. They do actually. The three do work for us.
Well, I was just thinking about, here's a scary thought, right? Which benefits all of them.
Well, but Julie, let me finish, because there probably are some other coaches out there that are likely qualified, truthfully.
Sure.
Okay, I'm not going to say we're the only ones.
No.
But I'm saying it does take some work to find the really good ones. But the thing is they have to realize that they deserve finding the real ones.
Agreed.
And when you are looking on YouTube, that probably is not someone that meets those criteria. And you've got to really be careful what you listen to, because when you listen to bad advice, or you take essentially, it's like Julie and I drove across the country last year with Zoe. We use Nav, right? Nav is like the ultimate coach, telling you what to go, how long it's going to take you to be there, what to expect, traffic ahead, danger ahead, cop ahead. If you're using Waze, you guys get the idea. Versus what a lot of you guys are doing is you're hiring somebody who has no real sense of direction, never really done it before, but you don't know that you should be you should only listen to somebody who meets those 4 criteria. You know, if you're driving across the country, you're using navigation. So why would you drive across the country with no map, no nav? Because you don't want to get to where you want to go. You guys get it? But the problem is you're going to be halfway into your trip, and then you're going to realize that you should have actually been listening to somebody that knew how to use navigation versus somebody who was just winging it, learning on the job, acting like a fake real estate influencer. And essentially, you are maybe at that point, you're too far into this shifting market and you can't recover. And then you're unfortunately considering whether or not you should stay into real estate.
Well, it's the same as, you use our analogy of our big road trip last year, which we have podcasts posted from that too.
Yeah.
But it's exactly the same as going through your real estate practice without following a business plan, right? So what happens with agents is they know, okay, I'm at a point A right now. This is my current reality. And some of you guys have to stop there and, understand your expenses and things like that. But let's say that you're at point A. And you want to be at point B, which is higher production, more predictable, profitable outcome. But you have like this squiggly line instead of following an actual map like what navigation would give you. You have stops and starts. You have to do a lot of U-turns and go back to the beginning. You're not really following.
It's the plane taking off analogy.
Basically. But that takes longer.
But why do they do that? What's your opinion?
I think it's creative avoidance of accountability.
I think it's because they have not been exposed. Like, for example, if you read our reviews on iTunes, basically every single one, when they listen to this podcast, they start listening to it on a regular basis. If they're consumers of other real estate podcasts
right.
or YouTube coaches with air quotes,
sure.
and they compare it to what we're doing,
yeah,
and
they
this
know
is
the
just
difference.
on the pod, they know the difference.
Yeah.
So what I think the reason is because lack of exposure to the difference.
Yeah,
That's
they don't know
think.
what they don't know, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so, guys, listen, the bottom line is this market is going to create amazing opportunities, hopefully for all of you who are caring to listen and take action on what we're saying. And some of you, it's going to result in failure. And unfortunately, the failure in a market like this won't be short-lived because this transition we're going through is going to last years. We've done past podcasts on this. Do your own homework. Things are not going to return to the way they were last year in a matter of months. We're in a long-term cycle in the economy. It's okay, guys. You guys can thrive in this market because of the shift that's going on. Just adapt, change. Don't wait to adapt and change because in that waiting, what's going to happen? You're going to experience untold frankly, failure. And then what happens after that failure? You're going to start doubting yourself and then you're going to give up. That's what happens. That's the cycle. Stop the cycle. Do the right thing. Take action on this. Remember, guys, your highest and truest purpose on this planet is to be of service to other people. Be of service to other people. How can you be of service to other people if you don't know how to help them? That's what Premier Coaching is about. Text the word Premier to 47372. Text the word to Premier to 47372. So tomorrow on the podcast is Listener and Client Appreciation Day. We've never done it before, at least not a whole podcast dedicated towards it. So I think you guys will really like it. We're looking forward to it. Indeed. We want to thank all of you guys for continuing to make this the number one listened to daily podcast for real estate professionals in at least the United States. Thank you for all the 5-star review on iTunes. If you've not done that yet, please do so. Thank you for all the great reviews of our book, Harris Rules. We sincerely love the fact that you guys appreciate what we're pouring our hearts and souls and lots of time into doing. We know from experience, even though many of you are just coming around to realize it, we know that you guys are going to need a direction in this market like never before. We know that there's a lack of real direction in a market like this, and it makes sense because no one's ever experienced anything like this before. At this, the recipe for this shift is different than the recipe that was from 2007 during the housing crash. But it's okay because as long as you stay in alignment with your highest and truest purpose on this planet, which is being of service to other people, and then you have the skill set to actually provide that service, you're going to be right as rain. You will have no worries. You will have a line of people wanting to do business with you. So that's the mindset. Now get in alignment with your highest and truest purpose on this planet, and you guys will not be afraid of the changes that are in front of us. You'll be looking forward to them because you'll realize it makes you feel fantastic, not just to make a lot of money, but it'll make you feel fantastic knowing you're helping people. That's what this is all about. That's what life is all about.
Yes, so get to work. Don't do nothing about this. Don't just say, well, that filled my mind with a lot of things to think about. Take action. That's the most important thing you can do right now.
And how can they take action, Julie Harris?
Well, they can certainly join Premier Coaching by texting Premier to 47372 and immediately joining on our Facebook Live so that you can get all of your questions answered. What I was thinking as you were talking is the combined experience of all of our Harris certified coaches, because I don't know exactly how many over 20 plus years all of them have.
All of them do.
Plus us. It might be 25 plus. It might be even more than that.
You're going to add up all of our time in the business. It's depressing.
I know, but it benefits these guys. And another thing that I think is really cool on those Facebook Live things with the coaches is that they have East Coast, West Coast, Midwest. They have a great
different
variety.
price ranges.
Yes.
Our Premier Coaching, when you get the daily semi-private coaching call, we rotate the coaches that are presenting because some of you guys will click with some and some of you won't click with others. And they are in different markets. One's in San Diego, one's in New York, in Manhattan, one's in the Midwest. And you guys will get, click with all these different personalities. But every single one of them have sold real estate for at least 20 years. But not only that, they've coached agent for the whole Barry time. They've run brokerages. They've been leaders in the industry. Those are the people that are going to be your coaches.
Through many shifts in the market, too. That's really critical.
Major shifts, too. Those are your coaches. Join Premier Coaching. Text the word Premier to 47372. You join for free. You get all the benefits of Premier Coaching for free for the first 30 days. No strings attached. Premier, text 47372. Remember, message and data rates may apply. In the meantime, guys, have a fantastic day. We'll talk with you on the show tomorrow.